What's going on, non-practicing white people? Hey, have you ever heard of that? Non-practicing white people. Oh, by the way, this is Afro Think Tank. All right. Now, I came up with a little term. It's not really my term. All right, light skin. All right, and I feel like that's realistic because technically and literally in real life, you are a light-skinned brown human being like every single human being on the planet who is brown. Every human being. Listen, there's not a human being on this planet that is not brown. That is the truth. But remember, brown is a spectrum. Okay? Now, I see you guys trying to get rid of this whiteness. Y'all should. I agree. Right? But you got to tackle it, though. You can't run away from it. You got to kill it. All right? You got to kill whiteness. You can't just run away, go to another room, pretend like it ain't there. Don't give me that I don't see color stuff. No. You got to see the color. All right? See the color. See it. All of it. Every spectrum. All right? Because you gotta process that shit. You got to comprehend and understand. All right? But kudos to you. Now, I know a lot of you light-skinned. I use the word light-skinned because that's factual. Okay? I can say nobody can debunk the light-skin thing. Not one. There's some people don't like it, but nobody can debunk it because it's true. Like it or not, right? But I see you guys coming up with shit. Y'all been trying to come up with a lot of shit too. Y'all got the blue band. Y'all tried the little blue bracelet shit. That was corny. All right, because we don't believe you. Okay. Listen, black folks, I'm be honest. We don't believe a goddamn thing you guys do right about now. You're gonna have to show and tell. Like, we gotta see the shit. Like, names ain't good enough. We gotta see action. We gotta see you kill the white. All right, kill it, destroy it, eviscerate it, demolish it. Use that goddamn warrior goddamn prowess you goddamn Europeans got and annihilate that shit like y'all annihilated yourselves like twice, in the past. Do that shit. Y'all gotta annihilate that shit. All right, and become a Hugh man. You know what Hugh is, right? Definitely a Hugh. Hugh. You want to be a Hugh man. All right, not a white person. All right, you get rid of that shit. All right, it's a construct. It's not real. It's not you. All right, go find out what your real culture is over there in Europe, pre-Christianity. All right, and then go embrace that shit. But I can get with this utilitarian use, non-practicing white. That's like, how the Jews be like, I'm non-practicing Jew. I'm like, how you gonna be a non-practicing Jewish? That means you ain't Jewish. That's like saying I'm a non-practicing Christian. Bitch, that means you ain't Christian. I'm a non-practicing Muslim. Bitch, you not Muslim, motherfucker. You gotta be it. You gotta have faith. What you're talking about? Like it's a race or something. Like you can just make shit up. I'm a but non-practicing white, you can do that. Because it's a religion. Whiteness is a religion of capitalism and slavery and white supremacy. So yes, you can drop that white term, non-practicing white. You're still acknowledging that you are in that classification, but you don't practice what it is that they do, right? And while you're not practicing that, you should practice something that will benefit your community. Culture can be created. So you got somewhere, in your non-practicing whiteness, y'all got to create a new culture, something brand new that y'all ain't never had before. It should involve peace, equality, minding your white ass business, minding your non-practicing white ass business, and then you can elevate to, minding your light skin ass business. Then you can graduate to, get your doctrines in just minding your goddamn business, right? If y'all did that shit, listen, if y'all mind your own goddamn business, you can master that shit as part of your culture. I'm swear about 85 to 87.5% of your problems gone. I'm telling you right now, you ain't got no trouble. No trouble. You get invited to more cookouts. The cookout might open up for you. Right now, only a select few VIPs getting in. All right, and it's hard for them. All right, but you guys, it's a little bit of hope. History has not listen. History has not said that you guys can do this. All right, you got to prove history, your culture, and the whole world wrong because nobody believes you can do it. But somewhere deep down inside, maybe I'm just too empathetic. Maybe I'm just too positive. Maybe I see the glass half full too much and not half empty. But I believe because you're a human, because somewhere deep down inside of you, there's an African woman and an African man. All right, in your DNA, way deep down. All right, it's been modified and changed and flipped and shit, but it's in there. If you can find that motherfucker and bring that shit up to the default setting, you gotta be all right. All right, so hey, you stick with it. All right, you stick with it. We watch it. Anyway, you tell me what you think in the comment section. Afro Think Tank, learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Yes, I know I'm white, but I'd like to think I'm a non-practicing white. I am white adjacent, white in name only, white alternative, white non-practicing. We need some creative ideas. What are we thinking here, people?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I like to think of myself as a non-practicing white, and I'm all cool, but anytime I pass people, particularly other white people, I just notice we really do be doing this. You know, how you doing? Why do we do that?
So non-practicing white here, and I've seen a lot of controversy online of people saying that, but here's the thing. It's not only that we're saying that we get it, we understand the system is rigged against people of color, but when we see it in public, we verbalize it. If two people are going out Walmart, one's black, one's white, me, and the alarm goes off and only one gets searched, I'm going to say something about that. When you see it, say something. I have a black husband. I see it all the time. Like little social injustices. And so when I respectfully say non-practicing white, it means that I see it and I say it. I fight back against it. It's not just that I distance myself from the racism. You have to be an active participant. So that's my stance. The more you know.
Hi, I'm Tara from Boston, just finishing up food deliveries today, and I wanted to check in and let y'all know about a term I saw on TikTok this week that I can't get over, and that is someone saying, I'm a non-practicing white person. So I think I might end up starting like doing some videos where I play a joke character like Stephen Colbert, because this is one I do in my personal life, but I only do it when I have the right audience, and I'm very self-aware and teachable with it, and that's playing a practicing white person. I've started gathering things from going on to places where people are claiming they're a safe space for all women, and it's clearly only white women. And the first point I got is a white woman who's being challenged on the fact that she was talking about how it's only white women at the party, saying that she'd love to have black women, except she called them melanated people. So I wanted to check in. That's a practicing white person ignorant move, right? Like, not having any people of color friends, but referring to them as melanated. Like, oh, the melanated people can join me in dancing like a white girl anytime. So is that something I should add to my practicing white girl character? Also, this is asking for emotional effort, so I just want to cut the jokes for a second and say, you don't have to give me emotional effort if you don't want. Take this as a joke and scroll by. If you've given too many people emotional effort this week, use it as therapy and tell me to F off while you scroll. You can even do it in the comments or my DMs if you want. Because as white people, we gotta know that we take too much emotional effort, and I know I'm asking for it here. So if I don't have your informed, enthusiastic consent to ask and get an answer, tell me to screw. That's how I feel about emotional effort. If you do decide to answer, thank you. My comedy appreciates it. And I really do appreciate it. And let me know if there's any way I can pay you back. Keep being awesome. Hi from Misty.
You know, I saw a post today where like this Polish girl was like, I'm not white, I'm Polish, right? And of course, all these white people from the United States got their panties in the twist because they're like, well, I'm Polish and I identify as white, right? Because you're a fucking American. Like, I don't presume to speak for all Eastern and Western Europeans, but I can tell you that majority of us, when asked what we are, don't whittle it down, like our identity, to the existence of our fucking skin color. Right? And like what I hear as an Eastern European when somebody's like, yeah, I'm white, I'm like, oh, okay, so you're a moderately well-paid slave. That's what I hear. And to be a white supremacist is even more ridiculous because what, you drank the Kool-Aid? And like at the end of the day, a slave is a slave is a slave is a slave, even if you're one of the higher paid slaves, even if you're a house slave for that matter. And y'all really don't think that you're fucking slaves. But let me explain something to you. What did the white supremacist or colonizer do to the fucking slaves? What did they do? They gave them a watered down version of Christianity. What do you guys? I'm a non-denominational Christian. What the fuck does that mean? Because Jesus started a church, and that's not, you don't even go to that. I mean, if you're gonna go balls to the wall on a monotheistic religion, at least do that shit right. What else did they do to the fucking slaves? They took away their language. A lot of you guys cannot speak anything other than fucking English. So you think somebody who speaks broken English is fucking stupid. Meanwhile, they speak 3 languages and you barely fucking speak 1, and you read at a 5th grade level in fucking English. That's another thing that they did to the slaves. They took away their fucking education. They took away their fucking names. They took away their fucking language. They took away their cultural identity and their roots. They demasculated the men in front of the women and the children so that they could do what they wanted with the women and the children. And what the fuck does that sound like if not the existence of men in the United States of America? They also gave them scraps for fucking food, shitty living conditions, and an inferior form of fucking healthcare that basically just kept them alive long enough to slave themselves to fucking death. And what the fuck does that sound like if not the entire existence of everybody in the United States, including fucking white people? So yeah, as an Eastern European, all I fucking hear when somebody says I'm a white person or I'm a white supremacist is, yeah, I'm a very well-behaved slave and I'm going to do anything Massa says to make them happy. And given what MAGA and Republicans in the United States have shown us, that fucking tracks. And honestly, genetically speaking, geographically speaking, and historically speaking, it's not accurate to call Eastern European people white because they're really fucking not. They're a little bit more spicy of the white people. Like, just look at a motherfucking map. Just look at a motherfucking map and please try to wrap your head around. Not every country that was created with genocide and colonization. Majority of countries that exist in the world are tribes that pulled together to create a fucking civilization and preserve their cultural identity. Where here you are in the United States of America, whittling your identity down to the color of your skin, which does not require any effort or preservation to exist. At the end of the day, borders bleed and war is a thing and cross genetics exist and it is what it is. So there's a little bit of everybody in everybody. That's a fucking matter of fact. But at the end of the fucking day, when you look at the motherfucking map, Eastern Europe borders the Middle East. It's a boat ride away from motherfucking Africa. Even like Western Europe, for that fucking matter, really the only like traditionally white people are like the Scandinavians, the Nordic ass motherfuckers, the Finland and the Vikings and shit. Those are the Inga from Sweden. Those are the blonde hair, blue-eyed, thin-nosed, tall Viking-looking motherfuckers that colonized majority of Western Europe, creating fucking white people. Majority of Europe as a fundamental whole were fucking tribes once upon a time, before civilization was even fucking initiated. And when you're looking at the tribes of like these Eastern European countries, they have darker skin, they have darker eyes, they have darker hair, they have rounder features, they border Middle Eastern countries. They're a boat ride away from African countries. Look at fucking Sicily. Why do you think they call Sicilians the blacks of Italians? Because Sicily is closer to Africa than it is any other Western or Eastern European country for that fucking matter. But honestly, culturally speaking, historically speaking, geographically speaking, genetically speaking, Eastern Europeans are not fucking white people, and you're not going to whittle our existence down to the color of our fucking skin, especially when you're talking about a motherfucking Polish person, because for the love of fucking God, we had to fight tooth and fucking nail. They wiped us off the map. They tried to eradicate our culture and our fucking religion, and we had to go through hell and high water to preserve that shit. So no, bitch. I'm not fucking white. I'm fucking Polish. And don't ever get that shit fucking twisted. And I'm so fucking sick of white people in the United States of America trying to ditch and franchise everybody else from their cultural identity because they lost the fucking plot. That's the you problem, bitch. Not me. Y'all tried to do that shit to the African slaves, and now look what you did. They influence everything that's pertinent in your fucking society. Y'all would not even be relevant trendsetters if you didn't have the descendants of slaves creating the only remnants of fucking culture that exist in the United States of America. And you keep trying to do this no matter how unfucking successful you are at it. Bitch, watch your fucking mouth trying to tell people what the fuck they are or they aren't just because you don't have a fucking cultural identity. I am so sick of white supremacists trying to wipe out everything that fucking matters because they fucking don't.
I'm never going to call myself a non-practicing white person, because for the split second of engaging in conversation with someone who is actively partaking in white supremacy and white narcissism, before they realize that I am not on their side, I can say something to get in their head. When I identify myself as a non-practicing white person, I am separating myself from this collective and from this group, and I am misusing the privilege that I have. I'm not non-practicing white. I am a white man who is actively deconstructing. You can't just stop practicing whiteness. You have to start practicing social consciousness. If you want to call yourself that, I get that you're trying to signal to people of color that you're a safe white person to be around. Would you accept me as a man saying, I'm a non-practicing man? Would that be enough to just make you trust me? It's not enough to not engage in harmful behavior. The system is harmful. We have to deconstruct the system. We have work to do in ourselves and in the world around us and in the people around us. Trust is earned, not given, and there's a lot of good reason to not trust us. There is so much reason to not trust us.
Black people always being like, white girl this, white girl that.
Be so sincere. Be for real.
I'm what you would call a non-practicing white. If you don't know what that means, stick around, I'll tell you. I'm not fucking racist. All right, I'm not racist. Like, white, black, green, yellow, purple, blue, whatever. I don't care. It's stupid. All right. And, like, I love black people, and I'm super jealous of black people. And I know that sounds stupid, but, like, they're way cooler than me. So that does make me a little sad. But I try to be the best non-practicing white dude I can be and just try to spread the love. But basically, yeah, if you ever hear somebody say non-practicing white, it basically boils down to they're not a racist. They don't try to use or abuse any form of white privilege, which exists even if you're a broke ass from Appalachia like myself, you see. But just wanted to clear that up, man. Non-practicing white. We could use a better name, though. Like, so if you got a better name than non-practicing white, I'd love to hear it. It's just all I can really come up with, and it's what I've heard used before. But yeah, basically it just means you're a white guy, but you're not a fucking white guy. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Be on a bus.
Like, bitch, I'm not Mexican. Bitch, shut up.
I'm
not Mexican, bitch, I'm Dominican. Bitch, I'm Dominican. Bitch, I'm big Dominican.
Because I'm not white, I'm Polish.
Because I'm not black, I'm African American. Because I'm not a dog, I'm a beagle. Because I'm not a chair, I'm furniture. Because I'm not a baby, I'm an infant. Because I'm not a reptile, I'm a croc wearing Crocs. Because I'm not flowers, I'm a bouquet. I'm not a pocketbook, I'm a purse. Because I'm not candy, I'm Skittles, but I identify as M&Ms.
Yo, I'm genuinely excited that you asked this question because it gives me the opportunity to expound upon this concept a little bit. So I want to start on the front end by acknowledging that the social construct of whiteness here in America is real and that there are inherent benefits to being born white in a country that has its origins rooted in white supremacy. That said, I've been able to disassociate myself from the identity of whiteness in that I do not derive any of my personal identity from the fact that my skin lacks melanin. I want to be explicitly clear when I state that whiteness is not real and that whiteness only exists in the presence of blackness or in the presence of other communities of color. One of the things that I observed growing up in an all-white community is that there is no meaningful solidarity around whiteness. When I look back across my childhood and I examine the times that my family was going through hardship and I identify the people who were in a position to help us but ultimately chose not to, or in some circumstances deliberately went out of their way to make our lives more difficult, what I find is that it's exclusively old white people. What I found in these instances is that even though they were white and we were white, that whiteness did not provide any sense of connection to the point where they felt obligated to help us. And that's what you'll find anytime that everybody in the room is white, that whiteness does not provide a strong enough connection to overrule any of their individual self-interests. Clearly, the identity of whiteness has some appeal, some allure. If you don't believe me, go ask Enrique Tarrio. In fact, the only time that you'll see that whiteness has a meaningful binding effect is when people gather together for the express purpose of celebrating said whiteness. Now, these are all observations that I've taken from my personal life experience, but we can also pull from historical evidence examples that show that whiteness is a contrivance. As Theodore Allen points out in his book, The Invention of the White Race, whenever the first Africans showed up at Jamestown in 1619, there were no white people whenever they showed up. In fact, the word white wouldn't show up in colonial records for another 60 years. At that time in history, there were English, Irish, French, German, Austrian, Russian, Prussian. They were a nationality. They never referred to themselves as white. It wasn't until 1680 that the concept of whiteness became prevalent in the cultural lexicon, and that's a direct result of the colony of Virginia legislating whiteness into existence in response to Bacon's Rebellion, which was a labor uprising comprised of an alliance of European indentured servants and African indentured servants and slaves. The ruling class of Virginia was incredibly concerned about this alliance, and it culminated in the Slave Codes of 1705, which created a social separation between Europeans and Africans. It ensured that Europeans could never be subjected to lifetime servitude, and it ensured that African slaves could never be free. The social separation was deliberately created by the aristocracy to ensure that they wouldn't have to contend with future labor uprisings, and it's existed in some form or fashion ever since. So once you've examined all of this and you've identified that whiteness isn't real and that it's always existed as a barrier to class solidarity, it becomes incredibly easy to separate yourself from the identity of whiteness. I appreciate y'all taking the time. Y'all have a good one.
I just saw this woman comment on this post about whatever issue, and she was giving her 2 cents, and she was like, well, you know, as a white person, non-practicing, of course. And let me just tell you, like, I'm gonna be using that. That's good. That's good. You know, I feel like we all individually hold these different demographic aspects, like, you know, gender, race, class, etc. But the ones that I really try not to, you know, perpetuate are my whiteness and my maleness. My gayness, on the other hand, that's another story. But the whiteness and the maleness, trash. Gotta go. Gotta go. And of course, I'm beyond aware that there is an unconscious part of that too that I will never really truly be able to get rid of, which, in terms of doing literally what I can, I will always talk shit about my whiteness and my maleness, especially in a time like now. Especially when the people in power, the people at the top, calling all the shots, are white men who hate anyone not male and not white. Plus, shitting on these things that I should be proud of really seems to make them mad. A non-practicing white person. Wow. Wow. Excuse me while I literally go change my LinkedIn headline.
This one's for the woke white women, specifically the ones who refer to themselves as anti-white or formerly practicing white. Now, first of all, no hate. Love what you're doing over there. Keep deconstructing. But maybe another perspective. Now, I remember when I started seeing the term, you know, non-practicing white woman or non-practicing white floating around TikTok, and I thought it was funny, kiki, whatever, the same as everybody else for a minute, but it really did start to bug me, and I couldn't figure out why until I realized it's giving blue bracelet. It's giving not all men. It's giving virtue signaling. Cause see, the thing is, while I'm sure that was completely unintentional, we have to be realistic about our relationships with whiteness. And in that, 2 things are important to remember. Number 1, whiteness is a social construct. That means whiteness at its core is not real. We know this. The second thing we have to remember though, is that even though whiteness itself is made up, whiteness has the world in a chokehold, and there are very set rules for how society operates around whiteness. That's the reason that if I walk out of a store and a woke white woman, a non-practicing white woman walks out of a store and the alarm goes off, we know who they're gonna look at first. Not because it makes any difference that my DNA decided I would have more melanin than she does, but because of society's rule. It's not how we want it to be, it's just the reality. A reality that you can't just pick and choose when you decide to participate in. Society is going to decide for you. You can't just put off your whiteness like a cloak. Now, you can lose the benefits of your whiteness if you piss off white society, but often, even that's not permanent. There have been so many serial killers, both male and female, who operated in their area, and then when things got hot or when their name got thrown around a little bit too much, they just relocated to another area because then, yet again, they were just another faceless named white person with white privilege. And personally, it's always rubbed me as kind of the I'm one of the good ones, or I understand why women choose the bear. But what do you mean I'm included in why they choose the bear? You can't separate yourself from a system that was built for you until that system is quite literally dismantled. Again, though, that was just some food for thought. Y'all are doing great. Keep deconstructing.
Fuck them. Again. Fuck them. Them and you is not friend. Fuck them. Them no need to be in your life. So why you making them cause you nothing but trouble and strife? Fuck them.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.